Um, let's break this down a little bit because um, we've kind of skirted around the complexity of what has been created and what is being created. But let me kind of delve a little bit deeper. Uh, we initially talked, and he initially talked about a number of different products. But let's just take three of those products: an email system, a social media platform, and a video conferencing platform. Now, the additional extras for the video conferencing platform have never been done before. So just the complexity of that alone is phenomenal. But again, the guys will probably correct me here because they're software engineers and they're specialists in their field. But generally speaking, it takes years and years to create a product. Yeah. Um, and it often takes 8, 9, 10 years before a product will actually come to market. And we know that with the likes of one of the other video conferencing platforms that um, they have now seen the light, if you like, and they've seen the different side of the coin, and they're now trying to add on bits onto what they have. And funnily enough, some of these bits were from what we originally saw when it was launched through OnPassive. But okay, so this is just the three products. The number of engineers working in the background for those three products are massive. We also know he had two teams, both working on the same product at the same time. We've also seen, unfortunately, where people have tried to be greedy and take advantage of his vision, the advantage of the fact, and Comfort mentioned this, um, of his generosity and his willingness to help others. They've kind of said, right, this guy's a soft touch. We're going to take him to the cleaners, and they very came very close to being able to do that. But the tenacity um, and sheer willpower is, I'm not giving up. I'm still here. I'm not giving up. And I think, you know, you've got to look at the other side of the coin as well. So not only have we got a large group of engineers that have to be cleared. Marie mentioned about the advertising that's gone on, so you've got the marketing side as well, and then obviously the remuneration side. So he's had up to 1,000 members of staff working at any one time and buying buildings and et cetera, et cetera. So the vast sums of money. Now, if we're going to compete with the big boys, bearing in mind where did the likes of Amazon or Microsoft start? Well, they both started in a garage. Did we start in a garage? No. So this takes an awful lot of planning, and you're probably right, Comfort. He probably started planning this when he was in his teens, and thinking about how he could be able to create something. So the sheer complexity of what he's got to deal with on a day-on-day basis, you just can't. One person cannot do it. So you have to build a team of specialists around you, which is what he did. And as we said, some of these are unfortunately gone the wrong way and tried to take him to the cleaners. He's not having any of that. We're still there, and we're still fighting. But what is interesting, what was very interesting for me was with all this rubbish going on in the background and all this fraudulent activity going on in the background, he has still managed to um, take on board absolute experts in their field. Now, just think about that for a moment. They know what's going on in the background because you read all this stuff on Google. If you the first thing you do is when you look up this man, there's all the negative. There's no real positive. It's all negative, as we well know. But but if they've seen that, what's this spark? What's the difference? Why would these top experts in their field actually go and work with him? Because they see what he sees. They see his vision. They see that him bringing this vision to completion. And that is where we differ from most of the others. Now, think about it logically again. When you've got this situation where you're building something that could well be bigger than Amazon or Microsoft or Google, just think of the planning that has to go into something like that to make it work. And when you're surrounding yourself by experts, then you're going in the right direction. And that's exactly what he's done. And I love the fact now that what we're doing is we're waiting for him to reach stage 10 before he tells us about stage 1. Because unfortunately, again, we've had a lot of idiots in the background that go, oh, yeah, this is what he said and this is what's going to happen. And you're going, no, no, no. And words are twisted. We don't twist words. We tell it as it is. And that's where this is going to differ, because we're going to get to stage 10 and then he's going to tell us about stage 1. That's what's exciting.